One, two, three. Harold and Brad, Windy City Filmmakers. Harold and Brad, Windy City Filmmakers. Harold and Brad.
You're listening to the Harold and Brad Windy City Filmmakers podcast. Bonus footage.
Well, let me say this. I would say that Lucky's one lucky bird.
I think so.
And let me say that it sounds like you found a passion project, and because you've gone to school, with Brad, you're a passionate person, and you have the opportunity to turn this passion into that documentary and make this documentary work and go around the world.
And I'm working with my filmmaker because of COVID. Like, we can't fly anywhere, really. I mean, we're not supposed to. Our borders are closed. I mean, within Canada, we're even discouraged to fly unless it's a dire emergency, because now we've got those two more contagious strains, the one from England and the one from South Africa, are in Canada now. Right. You know what I mean? Like, it's just spreading like crazy. So I've been working virtually with my colleagues. And right now, what's really cool about it is that I've been on the phone with my local MLA. She's been totally on board. My municipal district councillor with my municipal government's been totally on board from the beginning. And I've been attending all of their government meetings virtually. Like, I never thought for a moment in my life that I would be involved in anything that was like related to government. Now I'm just like, Holy smokes. And you know what? It's like one person can make a difference. And it's like when you see something that doesn't seem right or is wrong, and it doesn't seem like anyone's really like making a stink about it. I'm like, I'm an actor. I love to talk. I can make a stink about anything. And I could care less at this point in time who listens or who doesn't. But I'm like, this is important to me, and it's important to the animals. And animals are always first for me. They always have been, because someone needs to be their voice. I'm like, and if I can be a voice for this one little owl and all the ones to follow to prevent more deaths, then I'm going to do it. And I ended up getting a grant through the West Coast Environmental Law to acquire an animal rights lawyer. So now I'm working with an animal rights lawyer to get my petition in front of our environment minister. And we're so close, because my local MLA messaged me a couple weeks ago, and she's like, we're now back in legislative sessions in person. And I'm now seeing the environment minister in legislative sessions. And now I've set up a time. I've mentioned this issue to him. I've set up a meeting to meet with him in January, and we're going to discuss it. And I'm like, this is incredible. Like, honestly. And I've barely left my house. You know what I mean? Like, I'm doing all of this, and I'm like, holy smokes. Like, you know what? I made the choice not to be that person to sit on my Bathtubs and watch Netflix 24/7 during the pandemic. I made a choice to stay creative. And this just, in my gut, I'm like, I don't know how to make a documentary, but I'm going to learn. I'm going to research. I'm going to research the Rosennicide issue. I'm going to meet other activists. And by keeping the story in the press, and by other people seeing it and reaching out to me through the stories in the press, like, I've built an entire network, and it's just growing, and it's incredible. And now people are messaging me and saying, hey, like my friend in Texas the other day, he's like, here's my daughter with a picture of an owl. She was really inspired by your story. She drew this. And he's like, because of what you're doing up there in Canada, I've been able to have a discussion about this with my neighbor and tell them, like, this stuff isn't, there's other alternatives, And I get messages from people in England or in Australia. Like, it's incredible.
You know what, Yasmin, I'm very inspired by hearing that story. Like Hiro was saying, you're passionate about it, but I know you're an animal lover. I love animals too. Like, looking at your Facebook, I'm a big animal lover. Like, we both love cats. And I think it's great that the idea that you never did a documentary before, but because this topic was so important, you're going to do it. Do you have like an idea for like a name for the documentary yet? Or
it's the working title, what I've called it, because what I'm proposing now and what I've been referring to as all the proposal that I've set up and the changes I'd like to see, I'm referring to it all as Lucky's Law.
Nice.
And so either that's the working title for the film, but it could change. And also, I've been referring to Lucky's Law with my discussions in email with my government officials or any. So kind of that's going around. So I'm hoping that people will pick up on it and just be like, yeah, we want Lucky's Law implemented. And I think it just has a nice ring to it. And by God, if anybody deserves a law, it's this bird, because he did not deserve to go through that twice in 3 weeks. I mean, it's unacceptable. And yeah, I also became connected with a great guy, super funny. He lives in New York, but I met him pre-COVID at the Vancouver International Film Festival. Right. I used to volunteer every year, so I'd check out some of the films, and I went to the premiere of his film here. It's called Bathtubs Over Broadway. It's hysterical, by the way.
Yes.
You got to find it and watch it. Anyway, he's been incredible because not only he connected with me on Facebook like way back and follow the trajectory of his film because it's a documentary, right? And I also met his producer, and she's also she jumped on Facebook with me. So it's like, when I have questions about the process, those are just two examples of people that I can reach out to say, hey, here's where I'm at, and how did you handle this? Or, right. What can you recommend? And his film's just gotten rave reviews, and he's made the circuit. And, I asked him realistically, I said, how long did it take to make your documentary? He's like, about 3 or 4 years. And I'm like, okay, well, that just gives me some kind of a sort of a timeline, because I don't want to rush. As much as I want to rush the issue and the law being implemented, I don't want to rush making a film because I want to make it well. Like, I want to make like an Oscar-worthy documentary. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's not just one of, because come on, we're from DePaul. We know Oscar. We have friends who are Oscar winners. You know what I mean? I got to live up to the.
Yeah, I've done some DePaul films in the past myself.
Listen, I got to show you though what I'm doing to raise money for the film. And my friend Heather designed the button. My friend Angela took the picture.
Oh, but nice.
This is Lucky.
Okay.
And basically it says Lucky's Army on it.
Right.
And anyone who purchases the button, it's a minimum $4 Canadian donation, which is way less than US dollars.
Okay.
And $2 go towards the film, and $2 go towards the rehabilitation facility in Delta, who saved Lucky's life twice and who do so much incredible work for all of the raptors that come in that are injured or poisoned or electrocuted or whatever they're dealing with, slamming into windows and have head injuries. But they do so much great work to help these birds recover. So I'm doing a half. So that's going on. At this, so I mean, it's kind of Harold consumed me over this pandemic. So it's sort of the first 6 weeks were like I was working a full-time job overtime,
right? Solid
6 weeks, because it was just insane. And I'm still dealing. I just had another interview with a reporter today. Like there's still, I actually ended up publishing 2 articles in a newspaper. I'd never written for a paper before, and so I this whole pandemic has been great for me because I learned so much about stuff that had none of this pandemic. Had this pandemic not happened, I would not have. None of this would have happened. None of it. And I got to tell you, Brad.
Yeah.
The reason I ended up coming. I would never have gone by this park. It's not a place that I live near, but it's because that day I had a client whose 21-year-old cat needed a nail trim. And so I said, okay, I'll come out. I usually take the freeway because it's faster. But this particular day, my landlady had come by my car as I was just starting up to go. And we have a community mailbox, which means we have to walk to the actual mailbox, unlock it to get our mail, right? And she had gone to get our mail, and she's like, "You got mail?" She's waving at me with her mask and gloves, and I'm like, "Oh, I'll just tell her to throw it in the table in the common room, and I'll pick it up when I get home." And then I thought, you know what? I'll just grab it and throw it in my passenger seat. So I took it, and one of the things that was there for me was this check, and I thought, well, why do I have a check? I'm not working. Who's sending me money? Let's just open it and see what it is.
Right.
Get this. It was a residual check from Disney, from something I don't even remember what production it was that I worked on. I don't even know how many years ago. And it was like 32 something US dollars. And I was like, well, woohoo, it's great, but how am I supposed to put this into a bank? Because of COVID, all of the branches around where I live, there's some smaller branches were shut down. Right. It was only the larger branches of banks that were open. So I had to find a bank that was actually open to put this into a bank account. So for that reason, I didn't take the freeway. I took like the main roads all the way, and I ended up finding a bank that was open, and it happened to be a few blocks from this park where I found Lucky. And that's how. So if it wasn't for that Disney residual.
Shout out to Disney.
You know what I'm saying? Woo, woo.
You know what's crazy? Was tripped out. I have a dog. Well, I have a dog named Lucky. We had to put him down a couple years ago.
Oh,
had a dog. Yeah, it was very sad. His name was Lucky. But for those who want to make a contribution, like where can we buy the buddies? Like, can we buy them? We could buy them anywhere too. Like,
here's the thing. It's all because of COVID. Everything's kind of become like online, right?
Okay.
So nobody's actually selling them in person. What I've been doing is Lucky's got his own bank account.
Okay.
And he's got his own email address. And here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get it all for you. He's got his own email address. And people have been just e-transferring donations. And then along with that in the email, they include their mailing address. And basically, I've been snail mailing buttons. So I've done this. I've snail mailed to all over the world right now. And I'm like, you know what? I'm happy to do that, because if people want to support, and also it gives me their email address. Then I can also add them to the email list to update them on progress of the documentary. Because we're in the beginning. I'm just doing interviews right now and research, and we're trying to get a trailer together because I've been applying for grants for documentary, like for the film. So
what's that email address? Yeah,
I'm going to give it to you because my memory is like it's crap. It's called Menno Fog, and you wouldn't know that because you're a guy. But when you hit my age,
some of us have to take that Prevagen.
This shit is real. Like, I'm not making it up.
Happy belated birthday to you. You had a birthday a couple weeks ago, right?
Hey, what?
You had a birthday a couple. Yeah.
Happy birthday.
51, baby. 51.
Oh, yeah.
Woohoo.
Hoo-hoo. I know. Still going, Bradley. Still going.
Hey, we got to. We're not getting older. We're getting better.
I tell ya, right? We age like a fine wine.
Right.
You're listening to the Harold and Brad Windy City Filmmakers podcast. Bonus footage.
So, like, another question, what is the film industry like in Canada? Like, is Toronto makes more films than Vancouver? Or what?
They call Vancouver Hollywood North for a reason.
Okay.
Even during a pandemic, for God's sakes, we're still somehow filming. I mean, Toronto does have a good film industry as well.
Right.
But I think the majority of Americans love coming up here, and even Brits. We get people from all over the world coming to film here. Right. But I mean, it's because we have so many varied environments. The geography here is phenomenal. We can have desert in the interior of our province, but we've got mountains here on our North Shore. We've got the ocean. We've got the forest. Snow. City. We've got snow at the top. We've had one snow dump this year, and now it's just gorgeous. Like, I don't know. Nice. You guys can probably see this because our sun's going down, but look, here's my backyard. I'm going to show you. Even my giraffes are happy. Look, you can see my giraffe.
Oh, yeah. Nice. Oh, that's beautiful. Yeah.
Wow. I haven't seen Canada in so many decades. Wow.
I mean, this is like obviously Western Canada, because Eastern Canada has probably got snow. But it's like Chicago, right? You know, Toronto's like Chicago. But no, it's been really nice to be able to just have this kind of really mild winter. It's one of the reasons I think I've stayed out here for this is my 15th year. I didn't plan on that. I planned on being out here for a summer back in 2006, May, because I was living in LA. Like, after I left Chicago, I went to LA. I want your love and I want your body. And then I had an agent up here recruit me, and she's like, come up here. You're going to work all the time. And I'm like, Well, I have to go back anyway because my visa had expired and I wanted to renew it. And I had to come back to my country in order to do that. So my plan was to come back here, renew it, do some gigs up here, go down to LA and live there permanently. And well, 15 years later, I'm still up here. So obviously that plan changed.
Something kept you there. Yeah.
But honestly, that year that I came up here, I did one play. Like that was it, because there was a writer's strike. It was 2006 and there was a writer's strike. I'm like, well, had I known that, I probably wouldn't come up.
Right.
Anyway, that was the trajectory for me.
Oh, that's great. We know what, Yasmin, we're just about out of time.
Stop it.
I know, wait, quick. Before we get out of here, what advice would you give a young artist looking to come into the industry, or even a young person looking to do a documentary? What advice would you give a young artist?
Well, listen, I'm still learning how to do a documentary, so I don't know if I can give you advice on that. I mean, listen, here's the thing. The thing is, if you really if you're passionate about something enough that you need, and you feel like your issue needs to be heard by the world,
right?
Then just go for it. Just do it. You can learn it. We got brains. We're all, we can train ourselves to learn a new skill if you really put your mind to it. Yeah. You can do anything. And my philosophy has always just been carpe diem. I'm a one day at a time person. It's like, seize the day, baby.
You're listening to the Harold and Brad Windy City Filmmakers podcast. Bonus footage.
Well, I tell you what, it's been a pleasure talking to you, Yasmin. As always, for Brad Stevens and
Harold Dennis.
We'll talk to you when you talk to, and as always, dream big, dare to be great. We out of here. Peace.
Peace.
Ooh la la. Yes.